it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio, welcoming you to another edition of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org, for more info, or you can email me at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have none other than Alan R. Hall. We'll be discussing his new book, The Naked Queen, A Tangential Arthurian Legend. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Ingram Book Company. And guys, just so you're aware, Alan was brought to People of Distinction today by none other than some of the best movers in the business, UR Link. If you have a book that you'd like moved, move it through UR Link. You can find them at urlinkpublishing.com. That's going to be the letter U, the letter R, link, L-I-N-K, publishing, publishing.com. And without further ado, we have Alan on the line with us, so let's just go ahead and jump right in. Alan, first and foremost, thank you so much for being a guest here on People of Distinction. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Fantastic. So, Alan, let's go right in, all right? Let's not waste any more time. Talk to us. Tell us about the book, The Naked Queen, A Tangential Arthurian Legend. What is it about?
Well, obviously it's about a naked queen, but there are some circumstances.
I'm hooked already, Alan. I'm hooked already.
The situation is the ruler of Tabithia, whose name is Balazar, has just passed away. His son, who is supposed to follow in his footsteps, can't seem to do it because he's got a problem. He needs information that he does not have, and he doesn't know exactly how to go about it. So what he does is he starts touring Europe, talking to heads of state, and he finally arrives in England at the door of King Arthur. And Arthur gives him an audience, and they talk for a long time. And this gentleman, whose name is Darian, tells Arthur this story. The story is of the naked queen, who is his adopted mother. Now, she arrived in Tabithia because Balazar, who was trying to find himself a wife, concocted a rather strange ritual to find himself one, because according to him, he was going to need someone who could withstand a rather strong sexual prowess. He was just a very hungry individual in all aspects of his life. What he did was he concocted this ritual that was started to decimate the maiden population. He would bring a woman in that one of his knights would recommend to him, and he would cause her to be interviewed or interrogated, as you would choose, and he finds fault with her and sentences her to face every one of his knights. He has 12, and she is to bed every one of them, one after the other, in front of the entire court. Now, this ritual not only devastated the woman, it didn't do a lot for the guys in the court either. The priests were horrified. The members of the court wanted to know what was going on, and he just wasn't telling anybody. He wasn't having it. He said, look, I'm the king. This is the way it's done. I don't want to hear it. So what happens is Serenia comes to Tabithia for the sole purpose of defeating and breaking this ritual. And the way she does it is that she appears on the night that he's performing this ritual, and she tells him, you must send that child home. I will take her place, and I will do what you want me to do. And he says, well, okay, if you think you can, let's do it. And he proceeds to put her through her paces, and she manages to do everything that he wants her to do with not only grace and skill, but apparently a good deal of enjoyment. So this completely baffles the king. No woman has ever been able to do it before now. And so he tells her that she must go and rest and spend the day eating and sleeping and resting, because tonight I will call you and you will come. And she says, yes, I will. And the time in between will be a very long time indeed.
Wow.
So what happens is that because she is able to do this, and because she is able to please him, he exalts her and makes her his queen. Now, when she came into the castle, because she knew that it would cause a scene, she did so completely bare. She was going to end up that way anyway. She figured she'd save some time.
Absolutely.
But once the wedding takes place and she's already worn her wedding gown, on the wedding night, she tells him, I wish to return to my regular state. Well, the country I was raised in, we didn't wear clothes. We thought that the body as God made it needed no adornment. And I would prefer to say that way. And he says, well, that might be a problem for some, but I don't see why not. And the rest of the tale is the 25 years that he and she spent ruling this little country called Tabithia, which is in the toe of what is now Sweden.
All right.
It's a Scandinavian tale.
Right.
Now, what happens is that when after the wedding night, after everything has gone completely as it should, and she has spent the next day ruling by his side at court, that night she suddenly finds that she feels very far away from her. So she looks at him, tries to find his eyes, and finds that there is a demon staring back at her, which, of course, is rather disconcerting.
Absolutely.
She understands then that it is this demon that caused this ridiculous ritual, and that Balazar is under the thumb of this possessing demon, and she makes it her task to free him of this demon, and it takes her a solid 25 years to do so.
Wow.
During that time, they try and find an exorcist to free him, but there isn't one to be had, and finally, at one point, because he was asked by the priest of the castle, a man appears who says he is an exorcist, and he is asked by the court and the king to remain with them for what turns out to be several days. And, of course, during that time, the demon makes absolutely no attempt on the king at all, and the exorcist tells him that you cannot be possessed, because if you are possessed, then it is understood that you are possessed until the demon is routed. You don't get to come and go. It doesn't work that way. So the only thing that they can do is to appease this poor man, is to pay him his gold and send him on his way. And no sooner does he get beyond the borders of Tabithia than the demon immediately strikes and brings the king back into what the court has come to call his fears.
Alan, I'm going to jump in here. That is quite the journey, and given from where we started with this discussion to where we're ending now, I mean, there's hills and valleys, of course, that I'm sure these characters go through in this journey, which I'm just experiencing now and kind of getting lost in hearing you speak here. So it sounds fantastic, and I have always kind of deemed myself a bit of a history buff and always been fascinated with historical context, historical stories, and things of that nature. Now, we've all heard of King Arthur, and the legends of Camelot and King Arthur and all the knights and things that way. But this doesn't sound, this is a fictional narrative, correct?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
And now, what inspired you to write this story, and why did you feel this narrative had to be told?
It started out as a short story, and it sort of grew exponentially.
Yes, it sounds like it.
Taking on characters and aspects pretty much beyond my control, and all I could do to keep up was to keep up.
I personally, being someone that comes from a creative background this way, and being an artist myself, I kind of love how that tends to happen, right? When you start off on this creative journey, which, like you said, was initially supposed to be a short story, and as you're going through, all these different ideas and nuances and concepts are just kind of piling in as you're on that creative journey. And I feel like, it just kind of started to snowball that way and got into this big novel in development. So that's fascinating to hear, to hear you say that. Alan, tell us if there's one thing that you really want our audience here at People of Distinction to be able to pull from this and take from this story and take from this interview, what would you want that to be?
I think what I would really like people to learn is the person that each of us has the ability to be the hero of his own story. If you take what comes and do what you can to guide your own life, then you're probably going to be able to look back on it with pride and feel that you have lived a life worth living.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, no, absolutely. And guys, just a quick side note again, we're here on the line with Alan R. Hall discussing his book, The Naked Queen, a tangential Arthurian legend, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Ingram Book Company. And Alan, hearing you talk about being the hero of your own story, kind of taking that initiative is definitely, I think, a universal message that not only all of our listeners here at People people of distinction, but really everybody in our human family can really get behind. It's definitely a universal concept, a universal message, and we all hopefully strive to achieve that and live our lives day by day trying to become the heroes in our own narratives that we're, constantly writing there. So definitely appreciate that and definitely can then resonate with our viewers here. Also, Alan, I know we were in the pre-screening call, we were discussing, you do have your personal website that our viewers can also find information on other interviews that you've done, information on The Naked Queen and other books. Actually, you have 2 books in creation currently that you're still in the process of finishing, but you guys can find his website at alanrhall.com. That's ALANRHALL.com. Is that correct, Alan?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Perfect. And what else would our viewers be able to find? I know you have 2 books that you're in the process of writing. We really just want to reference them since they're still in creation that way.
Well, the first one is called Tibethian Tales. It's a companion piece to The Naked Queen. That is in process. It's still being written. And then I am working also on a Sherlock Holmes pastiche called The Case of the Missing Crystal.
Beautiful. Tibethian Tales, you said, is going to be kind of a sequel to The Naked Queen that way, so carries on. And I've always been a very big Sherlock Holmes fan, so both of them sound incredibly interesting. And, hopefully we'll be able to bring you back here on People of Distinction to showcase those other books once they're completed. And Alan, again, thank you so much for being here on the line with us. And as always, what we like to do when we end our show is really just kind of connect that back to here at People of Distinction with our human family. And, as you stated before, and as we kind of went into, being the hero of your own story and really trying to take the initiative and really dictate your own life that way, again, I think is something that we all strive to do. And the book, a fictional narrative as it is, has a lot of nuances and a lot of things that we can pull from in terms of just the overall theme and the overall message, as you stated, and what we connect to our real life that way. And I think that is the most profound thing, and how we connect it back and try to really utilize that and take that message and apply it to our life. Aside from all that, just the journey that these characters go through and how the story shifts and develops that way. I mean, it sounds like an absolutely fantastic book, a great read. And as the current state of our society, we're all, whether we like it or not, all spending a lot more time at home. And this is definitely a book that we can really sit back on a good sunny day and just enjoy the read and get lost in the journey that way. So Alan, thank you very much for bringing that to our table today. And we'll definitely look forward to having our viewers purchase that book and enjoy it themselves within the comfort of their own home. Appreciate you being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you, Benji. I enjoyed it. We only got through about half the book, though. Don't want to reveal too much.